We have just got access back to Claude Fable 5, and I want to show you how to get the most out of Fable 5 whilst you have access. And what I want to show you today is how to solve one of the biggest problems if you're building with AI right now. Because everybody can build something with AI, but not everyone can build something that looks and feels incredible to use and will actually get real customers. And so in this video, I want to break down exactly how I create design systems using Fable 5 and Claude Code, and how you can do this in just a matter of minutes using these custom skills that I've created. And in this video, I want to walk through how I create design systems, how to use this design system skill to create your full design system in minutes, and how to actually use your design system inside of AI coding agents like Claude Code. If you don't know me, my name is Chris, and for the last 15 years, I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design, and I've helped hundreds of people to build and launch real apps and products and get real customers, all using AI tools like Claude Code, Codex, and Cursor. And with that said, let's get straight into the video and show you how to set up your design system with Claude Fable 5. So in this video, we're going to be setting up a full design system using my system for building with AI, which is called BuilderOS. You can get BuilderOS by going to builder-os.dev and just installing it with this npx skills add command here, or you can go over to GitHub and install it from the GitHub repository as well. It's completely open source, so totally free. You can install it in any project and get up and running in a matter of minutes. And the skill that we're going to be looking at inside of BuilderOS today is the design system skill. And this is the skill that I use to create any design system from any image reference, website URL, or Figma design. And the skill basically takes any design that you have and it translates it into two files. First, a design.md following Google's open source, well-established design system format. And this design.md file is going to be a markdown file that outlines all of the styles and definitions for your design system inside of your code base. And then on top of that, it also creates a design.html file, which is a visual reference of your design system so that you can see exactly what is going on inside your design.md. Have a look at all of the components, what everything looks like, all the hover states, everything to do with your entire design system. And then on top of that, I'm going to show you how you can make sure that your coding agent, i.e. Claude Code, stays consistent with your design system using a small rule that you can add to your claude.md file. And if you don't know what claude.md, basically claude.md is a rules file that Claude Code will follow in any prompt that you send to it inside of a project. It's basically a set of rules are injected before your prompt gets to Claude so that it knows exactly what to do and how to work inside of your project. So let's jump over to Claude Code, where I have BuilderOS already set up inside of my project. And I've got it set on Claude Fable 5 here. And where I would recommend starting with Fable 5 is to use it on the high effort level. From what I have heard about Fable 5, people are getting better results from high than they are with extra. And max just uses an insane amount of tokens. So if you really want to get the maximum usage out of Claude Fable 5, then high is a really, really good balance of effort to use with the model. And especially if you're using detailed spec documents and plans before, you're going to get really, really good results with Fable 5 on high effort. So that's what we're going to use here. If I look inside of this eyedropper projects that we've got here, we can see that inside of the files in .agents, we've got our design system skill set up. So BuilderOS is installed in this project, and this skill is basically going to take an image or a Figma or a website URL reference and turn it into a design.md and a design.html file. It's going to extract the visual language from this image reference that we provide it, and it's going to ask us maybe some follow-up questions, and then it's going to turn that into a design.md that is basically going to be the foundation for our design system. So let's go back to a new session here inside of this project, and all I'm going to do is say, can you use the design system skill inside of this project with this image reference? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an image reference of a design style that I want to recreate. Now for the app that I'm building, which is called Eyedropper, which is going to basically be a dashboard with an MCP where you store your design system so that any of your team members can access that design system with their coding agents via MCP. Basically, I want to go for something that is minimal, clean, but still has a high level of design polish to it, because what I'm trying to create in this product is an invisible UI layer that the user can put their own design system, their own design rules on top of. And so the direction that I'm going to go here with this is something that's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more editorial compared to a lot of other user interfaces out there. Something in line with this, where we have very strong typographic rules, we have very strong layout and structure with very hard edges, and we're just using a black and white color palette here. Again, something a little bit like this that is more kind of editorial feeling that a user can kind of put their own design system on top of. So I'm going to take this reference here. So let's actually take this reference here, because I think this is clearer and cleaner in terms of like what the menu looks like, and having the type more visible here as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to Claude Code. I'm going to paste this image in. And so it says, and so the prompt here says, let's use the design system skill inside of this project with this image reference. This is using Fable 5 on high. Now that we have access to Fable 5 again, let's send this off. Claude Code is going to use this design system skill, and then it's going to create our design.md file, and maybe ask us a couple of questions off the back of that. And this is going to be the foundation for our design system. And the reason that we're creating this design.html file as well alongside this is because that's going to be the visible version of our design system that we can look at and make any amends or tweaks to. And we can do that inside of this project. And I'm doing this before I've actually built the application here as well. So I would recommend figuring out your design style or figuring out a rough design direction before you actually build any products, before you build your app that you're working on, because that's going to make it way easier to do any changes later, because you're not going to have to change the entire style of the whole application. You're just going to have to make small tweaks here and there. And also we're going to add in a rule to claude.md that's going to automatically check against our design.md files and make any updates as we change our design as we go, so that our design.md and design.html always stays in sync in our project. So now Claude Code is going to ask us a few follow-up questions based on the design reference that we've pasted in here. So it's asking, should the design system be light mode, dark mode, or both? I'm going to go for light only to start off with. The reference is pure monochrome. How should interactive emphasis and color work in the app? Either pure monochrome, where black is the accent, solid black for primary actions, weight scale for hierarchy, semantic states get muted, desaturated hues, used sparingly, boldest, and the most on reference choice. Or we do monochrome plus one signal color, like a acid yellow or signal orange, like a very bold saturated color, which could be good from a branding point of view. Or we do monochrome plus a restrained accent. So I'm actually going for pure monochrome here because we want to keep this as minimal amount of kind of impact as possible, because we want the design system for the user to actually shine here and take precedent. So I'm going to go with pure monochrome. Which typeface direction for the condensed grotesque look? Archivo plus JetBrains mono, Oswald plus Inter plus mono. We definitely don't want to use Inter because that is very kind of design sloppy. Let's have a look at these fonts first to see what they look like. I already know what JetBrains mono looks like, but let's have a look at Archivo. So this is Archivo here. Let's have a look what it looks like when it's big and bold. And I want to just put in eyedropper here to see what this looks like at thicker weights as well. It's okay. It doesn't have like a ton of character, and it's not necessarily the closest to the Swiss design that we were going for. Maybe it works better as like body copy to have something more readable, like this sort of size. And I maybe want to go with something that's a little bit more of a display font at larger sizes. So I think let's go with number 1, Archivo plus JetBrains mono. But I think we could also do a more like characterful display font just dotted around here and there. So I'm going to go to font share, which is my kind of go-to for free, well-designed fonts. And there's one that I want to look for specifically. Quick break in the video to talk about how you can make 5 to 50K from your app or product idea inside of my program, the Product Studio. Now in the Product Studio, I teach people the exact process to go from idea to live product with real paying customers. The program walks you through the entire process from start to finish, from finding the right idea, figuring out the business strategy, building your design system and product identity, to building the full product with AI coding agents and launching it to real paying customers with a strategy that is tailored to your specific product. Plus, you get a load of ongoing support to help you actually reach that 5 to 50K target as well. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can launch your products and make between 5 to 50K, then you can click the link in the description down below to apply to the Product Studio, and I'll see you there. Let's get back to the video, which is this Pan Chang font here, because if I write in eyedropper here, I think that looks really good. And especially if that's the logo at a small size, I think that could work really, really well, especially with the other fonts. So I'm going to say let's go with Pan Chang very sparingly for large headings, in caps in a heavy weight. Let's go with option 1 of Archivo plus JetBrains Mono, but also add in Panchang from FontShare very sparingly in a bold weight and all caps for top level headings and the eyedropper logo. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste in the link here to the font as well. So let's go with that. And then the last question here is, which anti-patterns must this design never drift into? And these are going to become our enforceable don't rules inside of our design.md. So we never want to do this generic sass softness. I don't mind about decorative shadows and depth. I think we might want to add some of those sparingly. Let's make sure we're not using color to decorate anything. And I think we're all right with going with lowercase here. I don't want to keep everything at caps because I feel like it is a bit too aggressive. So we can change that slightly from the reference that we've provided here. Let's submit those answers. So now Fable 5 has created our full design system here. And you can see this is pretty much spot on for exactly what we were looking for here. We've got the typography choices we made. We've got this eyedropper font as the logo at the top level here. We've got this monochrome color palette with muted, error, and success and warning states here. We've got spacing scales, radius, which is none, elevation and depth, components, which are these buttons and the hover states here, inputs. And this is all looking pretty much spot on for exactly what we wanted. We also have the do's and don'ts from the design.md pulled out in our HTML document here as well. And so now we have our design.html here and our design.md file, which is down here, which is basically the design.md format from Google, including everything we need for our coding agent to follow our design system that we have here in this HTML file. And now I want to show you one final thing that you can do here with this design system now that Fable 5 has created this in just a matter of minutes from our reference image. And I've just dropped this claude.md file into this project, so let me show you what it actually does. So here you can see the claude.md that I'm using inside of this project, and this is the extra rules. It's going to keep your design system in check and also update your design.md and design.html anytime there are changes that are made by your AI coding agent, and make sure that they're just staying consistent throughout working on your entire project, because we don't want our design styles to drift. Now this claude.md is taken from Karpathy's 4-rule claude.md file, and this is one that I use all the time, but it basically just reduces the amount of errors and bugs made by your AI coding agents significantly, and has been proven to do so, and has over 170,000 stars, I think, on GitHub. So it's a really good one to use as just a generic claude.md inside of every coding project. But I've added in one extra section at the bottom here called design system, and this basically says the design system is defined by two paired files that live in the codebase, design.md and design.html. Design.md is canonical and design.html mirrors it. If the two ever disagree, treat design.md as correct and bring design.html back in line. And here are the rules. Follow design.md for any front-end work. Before writing or changing any UI, read the file and build it. Reuse documented tokens, components, and patterns instead of inventing new ones or hard coding values that already exist. And then review front-end changes against design.md and propose new patterns if there are any. And then keep design.md and design.html consistent, so that the two files must always describe the same design system. Whenever you change one, update the other one in the same commit so that they never drift. And after editing either, verify that they still match. And this is the rules that's going to keep everything in check here. So to cover off everything that we've created here, we've built our design.md, we've built our design.html design system here to follow inside of our project, and we've got our claude.md rules that instruct our coding agent exactly how to follow this design system and keep design.md and design.html in check as we're building out our product. And that is how you can create a professional design system in under half an hour here. We've done it with Fable 5 inside of Claude Code, so that you can ensure anything that you build with AI has a professional looking design that doesn't drift, maintains a high level of quality that doesn't look like AI slop. So that is how I've been building my design systems using my BuilderOS set of skills, creating a design.md and design.html file from an image reference, a Figma file, or a website URL, and then adding those rules into claude.md to maintain consistency across my entire project and make sure that your AI coding agent, or Claude Code in this instance, is always following those front-end rules whenever it builds any front-end changes to your user interface. And those two files paired together worked really, really well, because you can see the design system visually in your design.html, you can make any changes to it visually to the design.html and then get it to reflect those changes back in design.md. And so you have full control over your entire design system inside of your project. And if you want to get started with this, you can just get BuilderOS by clicking the link in the description down below. And I teach BuilderOS inside of my community on School as well, so you can learn exactly how this whole system works in more detail. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.